Welcome to Dimension 119, a dimension where anything can happen. Prepare for the strange and unexpected. Enjoy today's episode.
What's going on, everybody? It is Nathan with Dimension 119, and we're back at it again for more Orlunds Magical Mountain Emporium. This is season 2, because we got destroyed last season, so we're giving it another go with new characters, and praying to the gods that Steve doesn't kill us this time. Steve, I'll get out of the way and turn it over to you, bud. I'll do kind of my links and stuff in the background while you do your introductions and give us a recap or whatever, and we can get started.
Cool. Welcome back, everybody. It's good to see that we still have some brave adventurers willing to delve into the mountain. I'm Steve. I run the YouTube channel Superman vs. the Dungeon. You can find all of our previous episodes from this season and the other season there. I'll go ahead and do a brief recap, and then we'll go through introductions in the order of Phil, Curzon, and Silbert, and then Sidebig. So last
He's just gonna
session,
kill all of our names, get all of our names wrong, because he's just ready to kill us all.
that's the point. If I get your name wrong and I hurt you there, then I probably won't hurt you physically. So last session, they left the safety of the Overlook and entered back into the dungeon proper. After traveling for a while, the group was in sight of a skylight in the tunnel that, through careful inspection and investigation, they found leads up into a forested swamp, at which point they were set upon by a fairly large patrol of oddly colored kobolds. When the party engaged in combat with them, true to kobold nature, the survivors tried to flee. As the group killed most of them, they caught one and proceeded to interrogate it, which they garnered the information that there is a worm of some sort that governs over this realm and all these kobolds, known by the name of Sesamoth, aka Green Tongue. They couldn't garner much more information from the kobolds, but throughout their virtuistic endeavors, our bard and I believe our cleric went and aided some of the other adventurers of the Emporium and curried some favor with another group that's recovering from similar adventures at the Overlook. They garnered some information from one of the halflings of the Kneebreaker squad when they were dining, something about something having come out of the swamps on them, and gave them a thrashing the likes of which they'd never seen before, which is why they were back at the Overlook nursing their wounds. And they killed the remaining kobold after interrogating it for the information that they could get out of it, while other kobolds fled back down the tunnel from whence they had came and further on past the natural opening in the ceiling. And that's where we left our group off today. So, Mike, go ahead and do your introduction.
I'm Mike. I play a Dragonborn cleric named Curzon. He's a pretty jovial individual, always willing to help out, lend a hand. He is the resident healer and will be looking after everybody.
Phil?
Hey, I'm Devin. playing Phil, the super archer. You know, ex cook of the King's Army. Curzon's gonna be taking care of our bodies, and I'll be taking care of our souls, baby. Um, good food hits home, makes you feel better. Um, other than that, um, I'm here for the challenge. Don't really have any other motive. Um, and I'm anxious to get back to it.
Rob.
I'm Rob. I play Keel Gaunt, a hill dwarf druid. Um, hoping to do some heavy wild shaping. Get in touch with my inner animal as we proceed through this dungeon. But we all know that death awaits us all.
Nathan.
You already know I'm Nathan. Mention 119. I am playing Silban, the Elven Bard. I'm the only sane thing that's keeping this party together right now. So, that went well last time with Dave. He kept the party together till somebody else got everybody killed. We'll see if Silban can do the same.
I'm sure he can get us all killed just as good as Dave.
Probably.
So the scene opens up in a familiar space. The tunnel's about 30 feet in width and in height. You're standing just a few feet from this crumbling rock opening in the tunnel that leads up into the forest and the swamp you can see in the distance. And you're all making plans for how you should proceed from this point forward when you're standing there talking about the different pros and cons of what's happening and how you should proceed. JC's leaning against the wall, voicing his opinion of getting out of the tunnel and taking the surface road from here out to wherever you need to go. And you guys are conversating back and forth, and the wall behind him slides open, and you see these green scaled arms wrap around him and pull him into the wall as the plates slide back closed again in a
Hey, watch out!
Oh, I feel much safer now.
I'll give all of you guys the opportunity to make a perception roll or a sleight of hand or even an athletics or dexterity check to see if you can reach out and grab him before the doors close.
You said a
23
stealth
sleight of
check?
hand.
23 sleight of hand for Sylvan.
I have a 23 as well, like a stealthy check. Almost like I was shadow jumping.
Okay. You're muted.
I got a nat 1.
Same.
I don't even know what
Rob and
check I
Mike
was
fell in
doing,
too.
but
Rob and Mike fell in too. That's great.
So, as this is happening, sorry, pronounce it for me. Is it Sylvan or Sybin?
Silban.
Sylvan.
mushrooms.
So, as this is happening, Sylvan, you see him getting pulled back, and you reach out and grab the front of his robes and his cloak, and you try to pull back towards you And Phil, you're actually off to the side of the wall, so you were hidden in the shadows right there, and you reach out and grab him too. And as the resistance hits the length of both of your arms, you just feel an immense strength actually rip him right out of your hands. And the doors slam closed, and you're both standing there with sections of his robe and cloak that have just been completely ripped almost instantaneously as he was pulled with such force and the doors closed. And we'll go with Phil, you call it high or low?
I want the highs, man.
72. Okay, so you actually got a part of his robe that had his left sleeve on it, and inside of it, you can feel that there's some sort of rigid item inside this cloth.
Um, I kind of grasp onto it for a moment until I can really grasp the gravity of what's happening. Um, so I'm kind of gonna blank half or stare half blankly at Sylvan and kind of be like, "Watch the walls," and I'm going to try to disappear back in the shadow
Okay.
with 28 dexterity check, stealth roll.
Okay. All right, Sylvan, you give me one, two, high or low.
Low.
So you are in front of him and you're holding onto his lapels and his collar of his cloak when he gets snatched out of your hand. And you can actually see that the portion of his cloak that you're holding was where his clasp held it all closed. And it's actually ripped off right in your hand. And you can see that in your hand is this silver cloak clasp in the shape of a raven. And it has like it's all chased in like burnished silver, and it has these two black gems set where the eyes would go.
Does it seem special other than what it looks like?
It seems extremely well made for sure. You'd have to do further investigation to find out any more about it, but you can tell just by looking at it in your hand that it's extremely well crafted, and it's probably got a good gold piece value in just the silver and gems that are in it.
I think he'll just pocket it for now then. Especially seeing someone being dragged into the wall. He'll just
Other
pocket
than
it for now and kind of step back away from the wall a little bit.
other than that, you just got like a 3-inch strip of fabric that's hanging from it.
Got it.
So Curzon, you're like actually like rummaging through the bodies of the dead kobolds when this happens, because you're like, maybe I can heal one of them and investigate further on what's going on here. Let me see if there's any left alive or any good loot to be had when this happens. And you hear this wall slam back closed, and both of two of your companions make extremely sudden movements, and you're kind of caught off guard, like, what the hell's going on? And you notice that your party is now shortened by one.
I'm kind of astonished. I'm not even sure what I just saw. I'm sure I would be like, hey, what's going on? What did I just miss?
The wall ate CJ.
The wall ate CJ. Is that what I just heard?
JC.
CJ's fine.
I guess either way.
CJC.
CJ disappear.
Yeah, you won't really be able to see me, but you'll hear me saying, "Yeah, the wall ate him."
I suggest we move on from here.
I like that plan.
Yeah.
Which way do we go?
We're not going to try to get him back or find him.
Why?
He did come in here with us after
we
all.
can check the wall for any kind of crease, and I will roll a hot damn, baby.
By we, you do mean you, right?
Sure. All I'm doing is just a little investigation for dirty 19, baby, to
So
investigate the area of the wall that opened.
So, with you having been that close, you can see clearly where this seam is that runs down the stone. And as you're looking around on the wall, you can see that there's got to be some kind of mechanism that's opening it from the inside, because the slabs of stone that open and close would be way too heavy for anybody to personally move for it to be like a viable entrance and exit, even in this instance where you didn't want somebody to know. So there's got to be some sort of lever or latch or plate or something. So you start actually like feeling around on the wall, like, in your best guess of where the outside edges of this thing would be. And it takes you probably a good 6 or 7 minutes of just investigating this wall, and then you see it. And once you see it, it makes so much sense to you. The walls still glow here in that soft blue light that every wall of the Emporium has glowed in. But it's hard to see it because of the natural sunlight coming through the open hole in the cavern ceiling. But down at the bottom of the right hand wall, just a few feet off from where you think these doors actually end, is a small square that's been cut out of the stone. And looking at it, you can see that it goes in and then drops down. So you think there's probably some sort of switch or pressure plate or something in there that you can probably stick a blade or something in to try and depress, or you can investigate and see if you can find any traps or how it functions. But you think this is probably your best guess for how that door opens.
All right, so I relay that information to the party as I investigate the switch more thoroughly with a 21.
And you can see that it's not trapped, but it's made for these long reptilian cobalt fingers to go in and push on a switch. And you don't think that your fingers are going to be long enough to get down to where that switch is.
Okay, so then I would go and I would grab a kobold's body and drag him over to the hole and throw his arm down it.
Try to straighten his
Try
dead
to,
fingers out. And
yeah.
okay, and you go over there and you drag the closest one over to it, and rigor mortis is starting to set in, but it's not too bad yet. So you flex his hand, into like an angle like this, so you can feed it in and then push it down on the switch. And you put pressure on the back of his hand and you push it down, and you hear the switch go click, but then you also hear the metallic sound of something go shink. And as you pull the hand back, the two fingers are missing from the second knuckle down to the fingertip, and they're just two little bloody stumps that are left on the hand. But the wall goes and slides back open, and it's a 5 foot tall by 3 foot wide door opening that leads into what appears to be another large tunnel running off of it that isn't illuminated by the blue glow that the tunnel you're in is illuminated by.
It's just dark or it's a different color.
You can see a little bit into it because of the sunlight from the tunnel you're in and the light from the tunnel you're in, but I don't if you have dark vision of some sort or goggles at night or whatever, once you hit that range, you
Yeah.
can't see past it. There's no additional light sources in here anywhere that you can see.
Does the door stay open after a second, or does it close really, really quick?
No, it goes chunk, 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 and locks open.
Okay, so then I guess I would turn to the others and say, "You guys want to try to go after him?"
Seems to me that if you're not able to figure out how to open where he went, then it is pointless.
Isn't that the same door, or is it a different
Yes.
door?
No, it's the same door.
It's the same door. I already figured out how to open the door. It's already open.
Then let's proceed, unless someone has objections.
All right, what's your marching order?
I'm not first.
I'll be in the middle so I can heal.
Wherever. Don't matter to
Bear
me.
tank in the front.
Who was the tankiest? Who went? Did I go first last time too?
I think you were scouting or somebody was scouting, and then it was Bear
Screw it.
Tank.
I'll go
Cleric.
scouting again.
That's okay. I got your back.
All
Just
right.
don't move too much.
Everybody give
person that
me
you had to spend.
perception rolls.
Perception.
Yes.
$17.
Dirty 20.
13.
9.
So you start making your way in this door, and Sylvan, you step through first, followed by, is it Kilgaunt?
Keelgaunt.
Keelgaunt, followed by you, and you're actually the only one that picks up on it. Your animalistic, nature in tuned brain just immediately registers a smell in this cavern that wasn't in the other cavern, and you recognize it immediately as the smell of like a reptile, like a snake or an iguana or something like that. You recognize that wet, leathery tang in the air from their skin, that they just emit.
Right. Are these the same creatures that we saw grab? What's his character's name? CJ.
You didn't actually see what it was that grabbed him.
Okay.
The bard got the closest look, and all he saw was a pair of green scaly arms that pulled him into the wall. But you immediately recognize that this stink is different from the stink of the kobolds in the previous room.
All right. Smells like reptile, snake.
Yes.
Curzon's going to do a quick pit check.
We are encountering kobolds. They would be reptiles.
No, it's different. This is different. I've smelled many a kobold, and
Sylvan looks to Curzon.
It's not me.
He actually smells quite nice.
Musky.
You're a black dragonborn, aren't you, Curzon?
Yes, sir.
That's what I thought. If anything, he smells more like smoke.
The green
Can we
kind.
Do we
That's what the bard is for.
proceed then, or
How long is this corridor?
So
Long.
to the extent of whatever your dark vision is, if you have it, if you don't have it, you can see probably 30 yards in from the ambient light of the tunnel opening that you guys are at. If you don't have a means of dark vision, that's about where you can see. This place isn't illuminated by that blue light coming out of the stone like the other tunnel was. This tunnel also doesn't appear to be worked stone. It appears to be rough cut into the mountainside itself. And it's probably at its widest point about 10 to 12 feet wide. And it's probably that at its max height, but at a general height, it probably runs right around 5 to 6 foot.
Can I make a history check? Use my stone cunning
Sure,
to find out more about the stonework in the corridor.
absolutely.
Oh,
So, Sylvan, you're the first one through, and whereas Keelgaunt was immediately hit by the smell of this place, you were more visually sighted in on what was going in on inside this tunnel, and you can see that on both sides of the tunnel wall, like bouncing down the tunnel wall on different sides, you can see bloody spots where it looks like something that was bleeding was whacked up against the side of the tunnel wall. And you can see in the dirt of the tunnel floor 2 drag marks, like somebody's heels as they were being drugged.
Is there any indication um, that it was the party member? Like maybe a piece of that torn cloak that finally fell off or anything?
You have dark vision, right? What's the limits of your dark vision?
60 feet, I believe. Let me double check.
You're an elf, right? I think
Yeah.
it's 60. Yeah. So yeah, actually about 35 to 40 feet down the tunnel, you can see that there's another piece of that fabric from that cloak, that shimmery material, because it was like a black, like gossamer. It shimmered in the light. That's how he got his magical bonus from it to not be hit. Um, it actually catches a little bit of the light coming from the room behind you and shimmers off the wall, and you see this little strip of fabric, bloody black fabric, hanging off a piece of the stone. Now, as this is happening, you're more investigating the stone, Keelgaunt, and you can immediately tell right off the bat that this tunnel was not carved or worked by some sort of, like, not sentient, but craftsmanship. This tunnel was carved by claw, and you can distinguish individual claws where it, whatever it was, just seemed to like pull the stone out away from the rest of the stone.
can I let's see here. Can I make a nature check to see if I recognize the claw marks in
Sure.
any animals? 17.
So you immediately recognize that it's a large 3-toed clawed creature, and there's a broad spectrum of creatures that you could associate that to, but being with the reptilian smell that you smell in this tunnel too, it narrows that field down significantly, but there's still a few different variable things that it could be that cause this,
Okay.
that you just know of right off of the book and nature ritual learning you've learned from the other druidic circles about all the different types of creatures that inhabit Unkal, where, you know, underground creatures that live on the surface, you know, all of it. And there's still probably half a dozen different things you could think of that could have done this.
What's the circumference of the tunnel? Like the height?
The height is anywhere between 5 and 6 foot. It varies, and then down on the sides, it's anywhere between 10 and 12 feet wide at its widest point, but it's generally about 8 to 10 feet. But there are some swatches of the tunnel where it looks like they just pulled a larger section of stone out away from the wall when they were carving the tunnel. It's not like flat, sheer walls, it's like all wavy and shit.
Okay. Are there any like indentations in the walls and stuff where things could be like possibly hidden, or any light coming from?
With how rough the tunnel was hewn, you could probably find crevices everywhere. It's just a matter of whether or not you wanted to take the time to search out those areas, because you could spend a couple hours searching just a small section of tunnel wall because of how roughly hewn it is. You know, at least you as a dwarf, knowing what you know about stone cutting, you're immediately like, there's a 20 pack of places in this section of wall right here where I could hide something where nobody would ever find it.
Okay. Do we have any idea of possibly how far this tunnel extends?
Do you have dark vision?
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Yeah. Up to
whatever your dark vision is, you can see that it goes at least that far, and then it's just dark past it.
Let's see here.
Maybe I should shoot one of these arrows of white light down this dark ass tunnel.
Well, yeah, you got flare sticks. Light it up.
Yeah, and give away my position. Even though I'm pretty sure that it wouldn't matter, because if I miss targets, my position is not revealed to them because of my skulker feat.
But aren't
I
you
could
the
just do it
shadow?
and then be like, it was the hairy one.
I mean, it's pretty hard to give away the position of the guy who lives in the shadows.
I mean, you're right.
Can't you just shadow step to the end of the tunnel and tell us what's down there?
It's pretty hard to have a hidden position when you just opened a loud mechanical stone wall.
Yeah, but they don't know I'm there. They know that those three are there. They can see them in the light. They can't see me.
I cast light on Phil.
I cast death on Curzon or whatever. Curzon, right?
Oh, yeah. So
death.
Sylvan, you're up front. You're taking the point position to investigate this tunnel as you go down it.
Yeah.
So, like I said, about 30 feet or so in on the left-hand wall, you can see a splash of blood and this ripped piece of gossamer-like fabric that you immediately recognize as being part of JC's cloak. And you still see these drag marks continuing down the hall. And to the limits of your dark vision, now you're like 30 feet further in, so you can see further than the rest of them behind you. And about 70 feet or so, 60, 65 feet or so, you can see that this tunnel begins to open up, and you can hear what sounds like an echo of water dripping.
What's the level of this blood? Like, how much blood is it?
There's a significant patch of it on the wall. You know, it looks like, you know, a good splash of it. It's not just a few drops, you know, whatever it was, you know.
But it's just a patch. It's not like I'd see it and be like, oh, yep, he's dead.
I wouldn't say that you'd immediately be like, oh, he's dead, but you'd be like, whoever it is that hit this wall was bleeding pretty good. Because this is the first patch down the hallway that you made your way to. This is just where that fabric was.
Sylvan kind of slows his pace and and like still looking down the hall, kind of turns his head just a little bit to where his his voice is kind of going behind him a little bit. There's more blood here. Do we progress forward? Or do we turn back?
I don't think we
Yeah.
should be here.
I never really liked that guy to begin with. He was never on time for anything.
You know, Tempest is calling me to keep going down this tunnel, bro.
By the light of Steve, I think we should return back to the Emporium.
My survival
Are we
instincts
not
are
still?
screaming to not really be in this tunnel, but also I feel like even in our tunnel, whatever was in this tunnel could come out and, grab us at any time.
Fine, so we deal with that later.
So, I mean, if the group is in agreement of leaving, then let's go.
Say
Then
we head back.
turn around.
I figure the wizard can fight his own battles. Or not.
I
Judging
just
by this blood,
I don't much care for leaving a comrade behind to die.
I don't
But
either. But I don't even hear any signs of struggle.
we must live as well.
Especially you.
So the four of you turn 180 and start making your way back down the tunnel. You make your way back out into the lit blue and sunlight tunnel that you entered this side passage from. And immediately upon entering the tunnel again, you can notice that it's been the daylight that was streaming through the hole in the roof. It now appears significantly closer to sunset, and the light is not as vibrant coming through anymore, but you can still see more clearly because of the leftover daylight and the blue light from the tunnel. And you all come back out into the big patch of dead kobolds all over the place, and immediately you're struck by the fact that every scrap of weapons and armor and clothing are gone. The bodies have been stripped clean, and these 45 kobold bodies just lay scattered all over the place, completely naked with nothing around them.
Man, you work faster than I thought.
You're
This
welcome.
wasn't me.
Let's
Anyway, it's
move
getting
one
late.
direction or the other.
Yes, let's choose. Are we going up, that way, or that way?
Well,
Let's go
seeing as the
forward.
sun is setting, it's dark either way, down here or up there. So, but at least up there we'll have the light of the moon to guide us.
Down here we have the light of the walls.
It's not the same.
It's the same to me.
Can you climb up there?
Yeah,
I mean all of you.
I mean, I have a climber's kit. I can walk up the wall and throw it down, and
I could
sure
probably
we can
jump
all
right out the damn hole.
Climb a rope.
I was gonna say, didn't somebody buy a magic item for that?
yeah, I can walk up the walls. And I mean, technically, I can walk up the walls, get out, and then throw my slippers down to you. And we can each it's like getting an extra ticket stub at a concert. Give it to your buddy so they can get there.
So you guys are gonna elect to take the surface route?
I mean, that's an option. I'm fine either way, but I'm more comfortable in the hills than in the depths of a mountain.
Sylvan's okay with going up.
I'm okay with either way.
I'll follow the group.
All
I
right.
think we should stay in the tunnels, but
Why? I want to hear your argument. Is it because you smell like The
Guys,
reptiles.
let's not argue.
No. I don't want to go in the ones that were roughly hewn or nothing. I want to stay in the ones with the glowing walls.
The nice tunnels of
Yeah,
Yeah.
the good tunnels.
The good tunnels.
the nice death tunnels, not the bad ones.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm fine staying down here if that's what you would prefer.
That's just what I prefer. But I mean, I don't have to. It doesn't have to be that way. I'll follow the group.
Phil's gonna fucking throw rope up and start climbing up while everyone's whining.
For sure.
Okay.
I guess
So
we're going.
it takes a few minutes for you guys to get your way up out of the hole, but it's not a difficult climb, especially with you having ropes and climbers kits and everything. And you're all greeted by the same vista that Sylvan peeked out of, which is you're in this hole opens up in a grove of trees. And if you spin your head around and look as you're climbing up out of the hole, 360 degrees around you, about 30 yards out from this hole, this really dense forest starts. And then you can smell wafting on the air the smell of like decaying moss and water and just rotten wood, that natural swamp smell immediately invades your nose as you come up out of it. And you can tell anybody who's traveled recently, which is all of you, can tell that you've probably got an hour to an hour and a half of daylight left before the sun fully sets.
So, which direction
Well,
do we want to
they
head?
the sun will set soon. Look, why don't we head in the direction that the tunnel goes?
Do
And
I do
that
I
way we
smell
have
that reptilian smell?
No, you just smell that natural swamp odor.
why don't we follow the direction that the tunnel goes forward? And I also don't think that setting up any kind of camp right here next to this opening is a good idea. But I feel that we need to have some kind of a secured perimeter somewhere soon.
Do we want
Agreed.
to create some kind of marker here by this hole if we want or need to come back to the dungeon and we can't find another entrance?
You got an ever burning torch?
I do not.
Yeah.
Are we surrounded by trees?
Yes.
We can make a cross. X marks the spot.
Yeah. Could do that if you want to. Don't none of you have a boot knife? Nobody here has a boot knife but me.
I mean, I have a sickle, a giant friggin' sickle.
Giant sickles can't carve. So I'll reach down and grab my boot knife.
He's like, "Are you kidding me? Did you see what I did to that cobble? Don't tell me a giant sickle can't carve."
No, I didn't because I was too busy taking out a whole bunch of people.
So you walk over and you mark the tree
Phil
that's
was here.
directly in line with the direction the tunnel goes. And you can see when you get up close to this tree to mark it that it's a pretty dense forest that you're looking into, and that it's you can see that it'd be one of the more difficult things to do if you weren't like it's back country for less of a better word. You know what I'm saying? This is not, you know, a, the front part of a national park. You know, this
Are you
is
saying we can't stop here?
yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying this would be like the Northern Territory. You know what I'm saying? Like that dense of unmanned, unoccupied wilderness. It's basically what you see when you start looking in between these trees as you're carving Phil was here.
Yes. Phil is the only thing that Phil thinks at this moment is his very heavy looking cleric friend. And I have a feeling that, especially the druid, but the bard as well, we'd be able to traverse this probably pretty quick, but he's going to set us back very slowly.
Yeah, for lack of a better terms, looking at it directly, you know this is going to be difficult terrain, even for an experienced woodsman.
Right. And that it's only that thick in the direction that the tunnel goes.
No, that's just
thick
where you
everywhere.
walk up to it and you can actually see inside this wall of trees
10-4.
that starts out from the hole, and you're like, holy shit, like that, that's deep country right there.
Does Dragon Boy got wings? Can he fly?
Sure can't.
What kind of dragon are you?
He hasn't reached
What, you
that.
expected him to carry us?
No, I expected him to carry his fat ass self.
He is
I
fat.
mean,
Did we come out of the tunnel to stand outside and talk?
Yes.
the whole place is outside, sir.
It's not as echoey.
No, the tunnel is inside. We climbed out of the tunnel and are now standing and talking.
Actually, we climbed out of a tunnel to climb out of a tunnel, and are now standing and talking.
Outside of a tunnel.
I know that you know that I know that you.
All right. So, do you want to travel in the same direction as the underground tunnel?
I mean, that was just an idea I had so we could kind of keep our bearings at the same time.
So,
'Cause
are we
there's-
privy to that information as well?
Who's the best woodsman among you?
I'm looking at the druid at this point, the one that said that they were more comfortable coming out here, kind of acted like they knew what we were going to be getting into. I'd rather be out in the moonlight person.
The moon. The moon.
I am a hill dwarf. I was never comfortable inside the mountain. So if we could
You
skip a
weren't
little
comfortable
bit of that,
in the hill?
No, that's a mountain, sir. There's a difference.
All right. Phil is going to just start walking.
All right. So, this is
Direction.
difficult terrain that
Yeah.
you guys are traveling through. So, you're traveling at half movement speed. So, are you keeping the same marching order that you had in the tunnels down there? Sylvan, Keelgaunt, Curzon, and then Phil?
Sounds good to
Let
me.
me look at my survival, because I'm not sure if Sylvan...
Wants to be up front.
Can I so we're just all ahead of us is just trees, right?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see here.
I have an okay survival in nature, so unless someone else wants to go up front and do the navigating, I mean, I guess Sylvan could try. It's not great, but it's somewhat okay.
So
We're in low light woods. I'd be okay with taking point as well, given my superior stealthy advantages and
Okay.
my perceptions.
okay, I'm gonna go ahead and wild shape into a hawk.
Oh!
And
More like hard ass pterodactyl.
yeah, I'm not that high of a level yet, but there are dinosaurs.
Hell yeah.
But I'm gonna wild shape into a hawk. I'm gonna fly straight up and use heightened senses and do a perception check.
All right.
And I got a 23.
So you get probably about maybe 125 feet up off the ground. You just clear the tree canopy by about 35, 40 feet. These are pretty tall trees. Um, and you can see that the forest spreads out in 360 degrees. You're kind of just flapping your wings and spinning around to get your bearings. And you can see that it spreads out 360 degrees and in the same direction as the tunnel. Probably, it's hard to say, but right off, like if you flew there in the form you're in right now, it'd probably take you about an hour. You can see that there's this large rock formation that erupts out of the forest and is just swallowed up by forest all the way around. And that's the only marker of any kind that you can see. And you can see that there are some dark spots along the facing of it that you can't tell from this distance or not what they are, but they're definitely not the same color as the stone of this huge rock spur. But that's the only marker you can see. And gauging from the terrain you're looking at, if you were flying, you'd be there in like an hour at most, you know. And if you're walking, it's probably going to be at least a day.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna land, and yeah, I'm gonna come back to the group. I'm gonna land, and I'm gonna revert form, and relay the information. It looks like the forest it does end. There's a clearing, a rock formation. I mean, unless we had mounts, it's probably about a day's walk from here. Uh, I couldn't discern much more. I didn't see any distinct features in the forest itself. Despite the eyes of the hawk, I could not see past many of the treetops.
How about the ears of a fox?
But what did the fox say, sir?
I'm not allowed to say that on camera, live streaming.
So, do we push through the woods or back into the tunnel?
I'm of the opinion that the tunnel seems like the better way. But that's
Kilgon,
just the guy
in
in
your
armor.
opinion, time wise, walking overland, you're looking at about a day. If you were walking through those carved tunnels, you could probably be there in 4 hours. You know, whereas if you were flying, you'd be there in roughly an hour.
Right. Um, well, no one else here can fly. Otherwise, I'd say we'd meet you there. But if the tunnel is the shorter, straighter, more straightforward route, then I guess we can risk the tunnel.
Well, we're not even sure really that that rock formation is going to be accessible from the tunnel in the first place. So, I mean, it's going to take us forever to move at all, period, in these woods. So we might as well just climb
Yeah.
back down in the tunnel and go.
It's too bad
So
we
if
don't
we're
have that wizard to fireball the woods.
That is also true.
So
I've
you guys,
I've never
you
heard a
guys,
druid speak of destroying woods.
Uh, yeah, the woods have
-1
not
inspiration.
quite been kind to me around these parts.
he's like, these would suck. You should see the woods where I come from.
You never met a dwarf druid. That's that's how we are.
All right, so you guys climb back down into the tunnel opening and you start making your way in the direction that's a continuation past the skylight. And you start walking in your original battle formation, and you're immediately hit with the sounds echoing down the tunnel, and it sounds like a wet, like like a wet crunching sound, like a wet like breaking of something, and you touch down and you can see that there's all these little creatures that look like slugs that are carnivorously eating the cobbled corpses that are laying all over the ground. They're about 2 inches long, and they actually glow with a soft blue light that matches the light of the tunnels. And they're just slowly chewing away at all these cobbled bodies.
Do we know what these are?
You can try to make a check to see. They don't immediately stand out like, oh, that's what that is.
Right. Would it be nature or animal handling?
It'd be nature.
Okay. 16.
You can see from the physiology of them, they look like carrion crawlers. These underground creatures that are known for just eating any type of live or dead material that they can get their hands on.
Is the luminescence natural?
It's emanating from somewhere within them, and you can see that these look like them, but they're way smaller than any record of any carrion crawler that you've ever read about. Like even the babies when they're first born are way larger than these. So you're like, these look like some weird mutation or variation of a carrion crawler.
These are like any carrion I've ever seen.
We're going to go ahead and do our bio break real quick, and then we'll get back into this. So do what you got to do to set us up, Nathan.
All right. Well, we're going to take about 10-minute break. We'll be back in 10 minutes to find out if we made the right decision coming back into the tunnel. And maybe in the second half of the session, we can actually get somewhere instead of being in the same spot. We'll see you guys in about 10 minutes. And we're back. Let's see if we can actually get somewhere now. Steve, it's all yours.
So you all come back into the tunnel. These miniature carrion crawlers are feasting on these dead cobbled corpses. And you can see that as they're eating them, their skeleton or their exoskeletons actually glow brighter with this blue inner glow that matches the tunnel walls. You decide to start making your way in the direction you were originally intending on going before you got into the scrap with the kobolds and lost your wizard companion. And the same blue glow emanates from the stone as you make your way down this 20-foot wide by 20-foot tall tunnel. And you're walking for probably, at your best estimate, a good hour, hour and a half, somewhere in there, somewhere around 90 minutes or so. You've been walking, down this tunnel with no change in anything, even though you're all still kind of dialed up from what's happened over the past 40 minutes or so. And everybody give me a perception roll.
I got a 10.
17.
8.
16.
10, 17, 8, 16. So you're making your way down through this tunnel as it slowly bends deeper and deeper into the mountain. And eventually you're making your way down a long straight stretch of tunnel, and you feel more than you see that there's a slope starting, that you're starting to descend further down, like the tunnel is starting to have a noticeable angle and the descent is getting deeper. You walk for probably another 20 minutes or so before you call a break to grab some water and, generally just reassess and make sure everybody's keeping on track and all of that. And you're actually standing there and everybody's taking drafts from their water skins or wine skins or whatever their preference is, when you hear echoing down the chamber or the tunnel from the direction you're going towards, a sibilant voice calling out, "Come, children, come. I await your pleasures."
Nope.
I
Nope.
never was one for mountains, let alone talking mountains.
I'm not one to normally turn down pleasure, but this seems like a trap.
It's
Everything's a trap in this
The
damn
whole
place.
thing is a trap. The traps are traps.
Well,
So-
the next time we get to the Overlook, don't partake in the food then, because it's probably a trap.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was trying to cook my own shit last time.
So forward then.
Nope. First, we can't go proceed into a trap knowingly on an empty stomach, guys. So I'm gonna take out some of the food that I had put away from when I was cooking at the Overlook, and I'm gonna hand it to everybody so everybody can get, feel a little bit better.
And you know what happens when we eat a big meal? We all fall asleep. It's the itis.
Good thing I don't have enough for that, fatty.
Curzon's already eating. He didn't wait for anyone to say anything.
Yeah.
Phil just hands everybody a small slice of roast venison in between two roughly hewn pieces of bread around everybody while you're all hitting the water skin as this voice comes off, and he's like, "It's trapped. It's trapped. I'm telling you, it's trapped."
That's exactly right. Hurry up and eat that. You gonna eat that?
You got more?
It's for me to know and you to find out.
So you take your quick break. What do you do? Are you keeping the same marching order? Are you going to continue towards the sound of the voice?
There's
If
no
I
other
gotta
direction
go
to
back
go,
the way we
right?
came, right?
Yeah,
You
we
just
can walk
order
an hour
backwards.
and a half back and go up into the woods. Come back this way, and then get talked to some more.
There's no guarantee we'll get back in going up.
I mean, you were the one who said you didn't want to turn down pleasure, so you should probably like lead the way and stuff.
Bunch of chickens. Yeah, Sylvan's gonna sneak forward.
All right, go ahead
None
and
of
give me
these
a stealth
people
roll.
want to move.
I got your back. It's okay.
Fuck you. I don't need you to have my back. That's a 25. I'm in fucking visible.
I still see you. I'm just kidding.
So
Stop
you
staring at my
make
ass.
you make your way further down the tunnel, and you walk for probably another 5 to 7 minutes, and the voice echoes out again, and you can hear the like the rasp almost in it. Come, children, come. I await you with pleasures.
Hey, what kind of pleasures are we talking about?
Sylvan's just gonna, like, every time he hears the voice, he's gonna stop for a minute, kind of look around, check his surroundings, see
Give
if
me a
he.
perception.
Is there a discernible
19.
pattern too? There we go.
That's very perceptive.
The only thing that you can start to make out is that somewhere further down the tunnel, the light source from the walls is different. Looking out ahead of you, probably about 75, maybe 80 feet, it's just beyond the limits of your dark vision to make out the clear details of it. It seems like the light isn't as bright or is muted somehow.
But I don't see a figure or anything.
No.
All right, I'll slowly proceed farther down the hallway then.
All right. You're making your way down, and as you get closer to it, you get about 60 feet away, and you see that it's muted because the cavern wall to the left side is sheared away, and it opens up into what is most likely a larger room or cavern of some sort. And that the blue light emanating from the stone is only coming from the right hand wall, that it looks like there's a whole section of wall or something that's missing down there. It's just sheared off to the left.
Is that the only path? Is that opening?
And the tunnel continues straight forward. You just see that that's why it's not as bright, and there's a giant hole in the left hand side of the tunnel.
Can I see anything with my dark vision down that direction?
You can see that it's a roughly hewn like crater in the side of the tunnel. Like, unless you get up close to it and bend your head to look around it or look down it, you can only see on an angle to the other side of it. It's probably, in rough dimensions, you'd say it's probably 30 foot in diameter. Like somebody just ripped a 30-foot section out of the mountain, so a piece of the floor, the wall, and the ceiling in like a circle is just ripped away from the left hand side of the tunnel.
And it's just on the left-hand side, right?
Right.
I'm going to kneel down and look at the floor really quick and see if I see any kind of markings or scratchings on the floor or anything that seem abnormal.
All right. You want to investigate or perception, whatever it is you're specifically trying to accomplish.
That's a 13 perception. Yeah.
And you can see that there's the markings from what appear to be lots of cobbled tracks that you've seen running through this tunnel, you know, but you don't see anything else that specifically, you're like, oh, what's that? It just looks like something ripped away a large section of the tunnel.
Gotcha. All right. Sylvan will creep forward to the edge of the tunnel sneakily and try to peer down and see if he sees anything down the tunnel.
All right, so you creep up to the edge of it along the floor, still kind of like a mix between low crawling and army crawling up to the edge, and you pull yourself up around, and you can see that down to the limits of your dark vision, which is 60 feet, right about 60 feet, this opens up. It's a rough hewn tunnel that's about 30 feet in diameter that just digs down at like a almost like a 45-degree angle into the rock, and then it opens up into a large chamber where you can hear water rushing at a high volume.
What's the rest of the party doing? Are they like following behind, or what are you guys doing?
I think your guys' standard was they were keeping like a 10-foot or a 15-foot hang back for you where you were scouting, and they were coming up behind you in the order of Keelgant, Curzon, and Phil.
Are y'all staying in that distance as I stop and look down this tunnel, or are y'all approaching, or what
Um,
would y'all do?
since we seen the tunnel, I kind of want to know what's going on too, so I would have also stealthed up there as well. Um, I just dropped my d20, which landed on a natural 20.
Oh my goodness. What's that put your stealth skill at?
29.
Okay.
So you're invisible.
Yeah, oh yeah, and any perception rolls against me since it's low light are taken at uh, disadvantage, and any advantage or any stealth check I make is at advantage. But I rolled a nat 20, so I don't need a second one.
Actually, you do. You at least need to let me know that because I just had to re-roll a perception because they had disadvantage.
I'm gonna move up there with them. Um, I don't really need to use my stone cunning because I'm assuming he's relaying the information.
Yeah, most likely as you guys are walking up to where he is, he's stepped back away from the tunnel mouth, I'm sure, to be like, hey, this is what's up.
Yeah, that's why I asked what y'all were doing, because I was either going to make my way back to you and tell you what was going on, or wait till y'all all got up kind of to where I was at and
Right.
kind of whisper to what I've seen. And that obviously the tunnel goes forward, but there's off to the left, there's this other pathway.
Well, if okay, so you were looking through the side pathway carved into the left wall.
Yeah.
Can I make a perception check to see if we can see anything at that point further down the tunnel we were walking?
It looks the same as the stone tunnel that you've been walking down since you got back into the Emporium. It's that
Okay.
20-foot by 20-foot tunnel of blue, softly glowing stone.
Okay.
But the four of you are standing there as he relays to you what he sees down this side passage, and you hear emanate from that side passage again that voice, but instantly the back of all of your necks stand up and your hair stands on end because there's a tone to it now that there wasn't before. And it goes, "Come, children, you and my pleasures await."
So,
Can I
if you don't wanna
insight
keep
the
that weird
tone
voice,
and see if I can figure out like why it's changed its tone?
Sure.
Sem.
What?
Excuse
I believe
me.
he said 7.
7.
Sam.
7.
Just because we live in Florida don't mean we're born here and talk like them, all right?
Right.
Calm
We're
down.
not complete hillbillies.
Right.
I've played enough D&D with you guys. I know how you talk.
I think everybody that's played D&D with us knows how we talk.
I think anybody who's ever talked to me knows how I talk.
So you don't get much from why it's changed its tone as much as you just pick up that there's an aggression to the tone now that there wasn't before. Before it sounded almost playful. Now it doesn't.
It's mad it had disadvantage on its perception roll against me.
It might be getting tired of waiting.
Well, let's make it wait some more.
Do we go to the left or do we proceed forward?
Well, I always pass to the left, so we should probably go left, and maybe we can find our item to get out of here.
You hunger for a
Yeah.
fight, don't you?
doesn't look
Of course I
like
do.
Thor's looking
This
at
mountain is getting kind of boring. So,
Left it is.
Yeah.
Okay, the
So you
druid
turn-
forward, so he can go first.
So you turn and head down the left tunnel, this roughly carved tunnel. The footing's a little odd. Keelgaunt, you immediately recognize it as being that same type of carved clawed tunnel that you saw where the door opened, and it goes about 50 feet down, and the tunnel is on a steep angle. It goes almost at like a 45-degree angle down into the rock to your left. So you're like using the wall and leaning back to keep your center of gravity as you move your way down. And it's about 50 feet down that it begins to open up into a larger chamber, and emitting from somewhere in the back of this large chamber is a large gold and green tinted glow. And as you come up to the opening, stretched out languidly on a large pile of gold and silver objects,
We
Is
lost
a
him.
dungeon master.
Get out of here. We
Talk
don't want to
about
hear no
suspense.
dragons.
one of
Strewn
Talk
lazy
about
to the
suspense, man.
This
Right.
is Dungeons
AKA
and Tunnels,
we
not
lost-
Dungeons and Dragons.
Stretched out over the.
Sitting lazily to the left on a rock is our
Stretching
DM.
out over this golden horde, there is.
Golden Whores.
golden horse.
Hooray.
All right, he's back.
What? So, I don't know how far I lost you.
You were just
Stretched
stretching
out
your.
languidly.
Across a rock.
All right, so stretching out languidly across this large pile of golden objects, one of them being a large golden hourglass, rests Sesamoth, aka Green Tongue, a large green dragon. And it bellows in through a big breath. Welcome.
Well,
And I'm going to need everyone to give me an initiative roll.
this should
I'm
be
gonna
fun.
shout back in Draconic. Thanks for having us.
Fuck, man. I'm wasting all my nat 20s, dude. My initiative is 25.
14.
These freaking new dice have betrayed me. 7.
13.
7.
All right. So this chamber is about 100 feet in diameter, and the rough carved ceiling of it around the edges is probably about 40 feet high. And in the conical center of it is a ripped open opening that's about 60 feet in diameter that leads up into the night sky. The dragon posts itself up on its front legs, and I'll show you guys a picture of it so you know what you're looking at.
You can keep your fancy ales. You could drink them by the flagon. The only brew for the brave and true come from the green dragon. It's pretty
Nice.
hardcore. It's not like any green dragon I've ever seen.
And it posts up on the pile of gold and kind of rolls its wings and shoulders.
Potatoes.
So, Phil, you're going to act, and then Sesamoth's going to act, and then Keelgaunt, Curzon, and Sylvan. So, Phil, you're up first. What would you like to do?
Okay. Are we still on the verge of entering into the cavern, or have we
you're
all
in the-
entered?
You're in the mouth opening.
Okay, but it's still just as like darkish in here as it is everywhere else, right?
Well, there's a gold glow emanating from the hourglass that's reflecting off of the scales of Sesamoth, and it's kind of got a green tint to it that's illuminating it, and then there's moonlight coming in through that hole in the ceiling.
Is it still considered low light?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
unless you're close to the center of the room or close to the gold hourglass itself, it would be considered low light.
Okay, well then my first order of business is to make sure that I'm nice and stealthed and hidden.
Okay, make your
So I'm
stealth
gonna
check.
make advantage on my stealth rolls. Natural 20 for a 29. I'm wasting all these, man. I need to stop rolling my dice. So now I'm hidden, and I'm gonna quietly whisper, "You guys better spread out." And I'm gonna try to. I guess I'll come along the left a little bit.
Okay,
Um,
like break
so,
along the left
like
wall.
break along the left wall a little bit. And this thing, I mean, he obviously he's out for us. So
Actually, since you say that and you break it in and you start making your way along the left wall, you got your eyes locked on the dragon as you're like sidestepping along the wall. You actually see laying down on the ground just a few feet in front of this large pile of gold objects is a mangled and ruptured red stain and a few bones, but you immediately recognize the shimmery black gossamer cloak that your wizard wore, laying ripped up, shredded with all these bones and a little bit of blood left in front of it.
yeah, that's not very nice. So yeah, I'm gonna break left a little bit, and I'm going to start driving nails into this thing.
Okay.
Um, so, but give me 2 seconds to figure out how. need to read a description. Ah, I lost my
Is
page.
this the same smell I was smelling in the other tunnel, or
Yes.
You smelly bastard.
is it what was I gonna say? Is it a younger looking dragon, or is it like more ancient?
It's hard to say. If you want to give me a nature check to see if you recognize it by its, its size and stuff. There are obvious ways that you can tell a dragon when it's, willing for you to tell it, or
Right.
when it's dead and you can examine it. But
I got a 17.
it appears to be not that young, but you wouldn't say it's one of the great dragons that you've heard of.
Okay.
Oh, it's in that one. That's right.
And you said there's an opening.
Yeah, and the ceiling right in the center of the room, it's about 60 feet in diameter, and then there's about a 15 or 20-foot strip around the outside where the rock is still overhanging because the room is 90 feet in diameter.
Okay. What's the initiative order?
It's Phil. Sylvan, you immediately recognize that sound of rushing water you heard is coming from a crack in the wall across from you, over by where the pile of golden objects and the dragon is, and there's a large volume of water rushing in from one crack and rushing out of another crack.
Okay, so I'm
Gotcha.
going to attack, but I'm going to just use a couple of regular attackies.
Okay.
Okay, so my first one, 19.
A 19 hits.
Okay. Where's my... Okay, 7 plus 6 is 13. Plus 1d6. Radiant for 6. So 19 damage.
Okay.
And my second attack is only going to be a 17.
A 17 doesn't hit. It comes striking in what you think is the same angle as the first shot because you let him go in such rapid succession. But the impact of the first one actually turned the dragon a little bit, and it hits dead center of one of its chest scales and just falls to the ground in front of it.
Okay. Also, I do believe that my position is not given up unless he can, detect me magically or something. So, but upon hits and misses, my position is not given away. So, just want to put that out there. And I guess I'm going to kind of just sink back into the shadow right there.
Okay. How
Maybe.
far along that left wall did you go? What's your movement speed? How far did you want to go?
My movement speed is 30 feet. I probably went about 15 feet and let that shot off and probably went another 5 foot more forward.
Okay, so about 20 foot.
Yeah.
All right. And that brings us to Sesamoth, who lets out a grunt as the first arrow drives in, and then begins scanning the room as the second one strikes its plate and falls to the ground. And it looks around, and you said because of your ability, all perception rolls made against you are at disadvantage.
Yes, sir. Because of my skulker feat.
So, and what was your stealth roll? It was like 29.
Yeah.
Okay. So it actually scans right past where you are on the left wall and sees the three of you standing in the opening of the cave mouth. And it leaps off of the front of the pile of golden objects and sprays coins all over the place and rushes forward. And then as it stops in the middle of the cave opening and the moonlight shines on its green scales, it opens its mouth, and you see that the entire inside of its mouth is coated in this green viscous liquid, and it exhales just this cloud that rolls out over the cave opening. And I need all three of you to make Constitution saving throws.
Okay, y'all melt. I'm gonna make a stealth dive to the hourglass while the dragon's not focused on me.
I got a 23.
Okay.
That's a good roll.
12.
Okay.
That's better than 7.
12.
Okay. Two
roll better
12s and a
than 7.
23. Okay. So the two 12s, you're going to take 18 points of poison damage, and the 23, you're going to take 9. As this cloud just rolls across all of you. You're immediately, your senses are filled with this noxious fume that makes your stomach knot up, and you feel that bile rise to the back of your throat, and you just feel like you got a bad fever, like the strength is sapped out of you. And it roars out in bestial fury. And that brings us to Keelgaunt is next, and then Curzon, and then Sylvan.
Okay. Alrighty. So I'm gonna, wince a little bit from this poison. Let's see here. I am going to make it out here. I'm going to cast Moonbeam through the open hole and into the dragon. Let's see here. Silvery beam of pale light shines down in a 5 foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder. Until the spell ends, it's a concentration up to a minute. Dim light fills the cylinder. When a creature enters the spell area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, it is engulfed in ghostly flames. 2d10. Make a Constitution saving throw. Take 2d10 on a failed radiant damage on a save, half as much on a success. And I'm going to cast it at, let's see here. I'm going to cast it at level 4 so I can get 2 extra d10.
Okay. What's your save DC?
Well, since I'm holding the moon sickle, I get a bonus to that. So the save DC is 18.
All right. And you said 18?
Yeah.
He makes the save. So
Okay.
roll your damage and then give me whatever the half of it is.
All right. Where the hell did my d10 go? Okay.
And effectively, this 90-foot cavern is now well lit because of the moonlight reflecting off of all of these vibrant green scales.
Half damage is 13. Radiant damage.
Okay. Anything else you want to do with your turn?
I am going to. I'm going to move kind of off to the side but I'm going to be concentrating the moonbeam.
Left or right? Phil went left.
Phil went left.
Yes.
I'll go right to divide its attention.
Okay. What's your movement speed?
35 feet.
Okay. How far along to the right? Do you want to stay along the wall, or do you want to like move out into the cavern itself?
I want to stay along the wall.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna attempt to. Let's see here. How far out is the wall?
Like the wall opens up like it's a round cavern, all the way around, and the diameter of it all the way around is about 90 feet. The dragon has come out into the center of it, which is about 45 feet out, and has breathed out this cloud at you guys and is standing in the center of it, getting struck by your moonbeam.
Okay, I am going to. I'm gonna walk to how. What's the distance between me and the wall?
You're right at the tunnel mouth where it enters this cavern, so probably 3 or 4
so we just walked in then?
Yeah, and you could walk along that wall. It's just a matter of how far along it you want to walk and whether you want to stay close to it or go out into the middle of the cavern.
I'm actually I'm gonna move a little bit down along the wall, and then I'm gonna walk straight up it about 10 feet, 10, 15 feet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And then that brings us to Curzon. So the dragon leaps forward, exhales this cloud of poisonous gas into the tunnel mouth that you guys are standing in. You see your dwarf friend reach his hands up into the sky, and moonlight comes streaming down through the opening and rails and strikes and starts reflecting off this dragon, and he moves off to your right. Meanwhile, you see the human disappear into the shadows to the left, and you see a couple of arrows fly out and strike at the dragon. What do you want to do?
I'm going to cast protection from poison on Keelgant.
Okay.
Cheers.
16, 21.
What do you got to make a ranged spell attack?
Yeah, I think so. For it to hit.
Why'd you range spell attack a good spell to a party member?
That's what he just did.
You shouldn't have to do that.
Your bear tank from poison.
I was going to say from poison with my action.
It should just be he should make a save unless he's a willing subject. It should just be isn't it a touch spell?
Yeah, it's a touch spell, so I guess I didn't have to roll.
So you just reach out and touch his shoulder as he starts moving away from the cavern mouth. You feel this magical wash.
He gone. Lost him again.
Nope, we lost you, Steve.
So that neutralizes the poison, right?
Yes.
Why don't you go cast that on the dragon?
I don't think
hey, Steve's a robot. You might need to go change your batteries.
What?
You've blinked out for about 40 seconds.
Well, he's not effectively poisoned. None of you guys are. It's just a poison damage that washes over you. You're not afflicted by the poison condition, but it's a good protection to have.
Yeah, it'll also give him resistance to poison as well.
For how long? An hour?
Let me double check that real quick.
Concentration.
I think it's an hour. I get advantage to saving throws against
1 hour.
Poisoned and resistance to poison damage. Nice. Resistance to poison damage against this dragon. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty baller. Anything else you want to do with your turn?
Yes, sir. I'm going to use my bonus action to cast Healing Word upon Keelgant as well.
Sweet.
And that will heal him for 1d4 plus my spellcasting modifier.
Bless you.
That's 4 plus 5 is 9.
So the 9 you just took in poison damage, you get healed from you, and you feel this magical energy vibrating in your body as it counteracts the poison
Bless
and
you.
heals you for the damage. All
I'm
right.
I'm gonna thank him in Draconic. Cheers, friend.
Anything else, Curzon?
That'll do it for my turn.
You gonna stay there in the cave, in the mouth of the cave, or move or anything?
I'm gonna stay where I'm at while I'm still in reach of the most of the party
Still a
members.
target.
Okay. All right, Sylvan. That brings us to you.
1 or 2 guys.
What?
1 or 2.
2. It's double.
All right. Sylvan is going to move down towards where Phil went, a few feet, and hopefully stay within 60 feet of Phil. I
Yeah,
don't think
he's
he
not
moved that far.
No, he's only about 20 feet further along the wall if you knew exactly where he was, but you just know the general area he's hidden.
I'll probably move about 10 feet that direction. And then I will look at the dragon and say, those scales would make some nice armor. And I need it to make a intelligence saving throw, DC 15.
He makes it.
Do we have inspiration starting each session or no?
Everybody started the game with it. I don't know if anybody used. I don't know if anybody used their inspiration. I know Keelgaunt was awarded inspiration out of game for something, so I know he's got a current point, but I don't know if any of the rest of you used inspiration for anything, so we'll just say that you're all starting with it.
Can I use my inspiration to give him disadvantage?
To give the giant or the dragon disadvantage?
Yes.
I'll allow it.
All right.
I think the bard should be giving us bardic inspiration at the start of every freaking combat.
That's an amazing move. He fails.
All right.
I re-rolled it. You said he needed a 15. He's got a +3 intelligence. He rolled a 14 naturally, but I re-rolled both dice when you said you wanted to give him disadvantage, and he rolled a 2 and a 6.
Hell yes.
Amazing.
So, as Sylvan moves this 10 feet towards Phil, and says this, he's got this cloak. He's got this cloak on, and he's got the hood up. Anybody looking his direction would start to see a glow underneath the hood, and this glowing spot starts to form in Sylvan's forehead, and it starts to protrude out a little bit, and you notice it's like at a point, and then it's this lance that starts to come out, and it gets out a few inches, and then just launches at this dragon. And hits, and I need to roll 8d6 real quick. Give me 1 second.
Dang.
That's 15 on the first 4. Holy fuck. 12, 16, that's 19 on the second 4, so 20, 34 damage, 34 psychic damage. And he is incapacitated until the start of my next turn.
Incapacitated. Boom.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to do any movement or anything else on your turn after that?
I'm going to look over to where I saw Phil disappear and say, use your arrows now. Now we have the best chance. And give him Bardic Inspiration. That will be a D10 that he can add to his rolls.
And that brings us right into your action, Phil. You see Sylvan dance out into the tunnel, creeping along the wall. and this blast erupt from him and strike the dragon right in the muzzle, and this psychic energy just crackles back all along this dragon's face, and you see it roar, but you don't hear it scream. And he says this to you, and that brings us to you.
Now that's plus 10 to my attack rolls.
It's
It's a
1d10.
D10 you can add to it.
It's a D10, and
Yeah.
that's for every attack, or
I
just my
think
next
it's just
attack?
one. Let me
Yeah.
look and make sure.
I think it's your next
As a
attack.
bonus action, a creature other than yourself within 60 feet gains an inspirational die, 1d10, for 10 minutes. The creature can add it to one ability check, attack roll, or saving throw. And you can choose to add it after you see what you roll if you want. But it's before you know the outcome.
Okay. That works out so good, dude.
I was gonna say Phil already knows what it takes to hit it, so but if it's incapacitated now, I believe all incoming attacks are made at advantage, right?
I'm not sure how that. I was gonna look that up right now because I'm not sure how that works with ranged attacks.
I kind of thought that it would.
Let me look real
But
quick.
getting the free D10 on top of my maneuver die D10s and stuff, some shit's about to go down.
Don't waste
Okay.
your D10 if you don't need it. I'm just saying
Oh no,
because you only get it for one roll.
That's okay. I got more.
Incapacitated. An incapacitated creature can't take actions or reactions. That's what it says.
Okay. So yeah, it doesn't get anything in at advantage at it. It just can't take any actions or make any reactions.
Yeah, I guess that only the getting advantage I guess only applies if you roll that because it's incapacitated it goes prone. Which
Right.
Well,
some creatures would, I guess, and some creatures wouldn't. That's kind of up to you. So, but it can't
I don't
take
know.
actions or reactions until
The start
my
of your
turn.
next turn.
Well, because I'm so well hidden, wouldn't I get advantage anyway?
Sneak attack.
He doesn't have sneak
I don't
attack
have
as the
sneak
fighter, but
attack.
yes, you are still technically hidden from it. It looked clean past you because it failed its perception against you. So you would get to roll with advantage on it.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I guess I'll hold on to the bardic inspiration point for a moment. And I'm
You
going
could hold
to
on to everything, right? And just roll your 2d20s and see what your score is. Because you know what you need to hit it. You've already hit it once.
Yeah. But I'm also about to use my sharpshooter feat, which takes -5 from my attack roll, and if I still hit, then it's +10 to whatever my damage total is.
Right.
So
So you want to use your maneuver die and your d20 with advantage to make your attack roll with sharpshooter.
I don't need to use a maneuver die to use sharpshooter. I need to use the superiority die for my precision attack. So
Nice.
I'm gonna roll it at advantage for the sharpshooter here. So that's gonna be 16. -5 is 11, but also plus what this D10 is, which is going to be a 4, which is still only going to be a 15.
A 15 does not hit.
Yeah. So that didn't work out as well. So I'm going to try to do the same thing again. And that's going to fail horribly as well. And
You can use your inspiration point.
I can use my inspiration point. Let me inspire myself and make another attack roll. For a 19.
A 19 hits.
And then, okay, so that's A 19. And then that. Okay, so then I'm going to roll my damage. D10. 6 plus 6 is 12 plus a d6. Fell on the floor. That's a 1, so that's 13 plus 10 from sharpshooter is going to be 23.
23 damage.
Yep. And then I think I'm going to action surge and attack again.
Okay.
For a 21.
A 21 hits.
For a 10 plus 6 is 6. Or 16 plus 3 is 19. For another 19 damage. And you said it was a bit more lit up in there now. Do I need to make a stealth check to go back to hiding?
Yes, because the area is now well lit because of the moonlight reflecting off of the scales on this dragon.
Okay, it's a 27.
Okay. And everybody else in the room, you just see out of the shadows.
The spell actually says dim light.
Yeah, but there's already light in the room as another light source too.
Okay,
So
for sure.
it's
Yeah, that's why I asked, is because more light got added because of your careless moonbeams.
so that brings us. Do you want to move or anything, Phil?
Yeah, I think I want to move another 10 feet away from everybody.
Like further into the room along
Yeah.
the wall? Okay.
Yeah.
So that brings us actually to Sesamoth, who can't take any actions or reactions, but you hear a distorted ripple of sound, almost like a warped version of a growl emanating from the center of the room. And it's going to end its turn there, which is going to bring us back to Keelgaunt.
Well, the dragon ended its turn, still illuminated by the moonbeam.
Yep.
So
So
okay, that's
you got to do your damage on it again.
Yep. It's another third. No, it's full damage because it can't make a saving throw, right?
It can make a saving throw. It just can't take any reaction.
Okay, so she would have. Would the dragon have to make another Constitution saving throw?
I think you only have to make it the first time, right? I think the spell says if they start.
It says, when a creature enters the spell area for the first time or starts its turn there.
Yeah, so it started its turn there. That it means it automatically takes its damage again.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it automatically failed to save then, or that save was just the okay. All right, so 26 damage.
26.
I was unsure about the wording of that.
Okay.
So it's still my turn. Let's see. You know what? I'm just gonna move along the wall. I'll move up a little higher, but I'm gonna take a little bit of distance from the dragon.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna keep concentrating on the moonbeam spell.
Okay. That brings us to Curzon.
Okay, I am going to cast protection from poison on Sylvan.
Okay. You're going to need to move about 15 feet off to your left because that's the direction he went off to.
Okay.
Cave opening.
I'll do that. I'll run over to Sylvan and run up and touch him and cast protection from poison on him.
Okay.
And then with my bonus action, I will cast Healing Word, and I will heal him for 6 points of damage. Well, 6
Holy
points
crap,
of HP.
that spell's not concentration? Damn.
Healing Word is a bonus action and is
No, I meant
instantaneous.
protection from poison. I was assuming it was
Oh.
concentration, but it's not. That's freaking
It is
awesome.
not.
No,
Yeah.
it's a baller ass spell. It's really good for niche markets like it's in right now, you know.
I just always assume it was concentration because you had to keep that protection up, but it's not. That's cool.
And it's more like antidote than protection from poison.
What was the duration on that again?
1 hour.
Okay.
Anything else you want to do on your turn, Curzon?
I will remove my hand from Sylvan and turn and face the dragon and just mentally prepare myself, I guess. But that'll
All
end my
right.
turn.
That brings us to you, Sylvan.
Sylvan is going to look at the dragon and notice that it's been getting to move a little bit and give a chuckle and say, "You should stay down." And I needed to make another intelligence saving throw.
Okay. What's the
At
DC?
disadvantage.
15.
It makes it.
All right, so it won't be incapacitated this time, but it will still take half damage. So let me roll that up.
All right.
And is it still incapacitated for right now?
No.
Negative.
Oh, it's only 1 round.
Yeah. So
What?
not quite as good, but still 19 on the first and 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So 14 psychic damage this time.
What? 19 on the first, 25, 26, 27, 28, 14.
It's halved because he succeeded. So 14.
Oh, 14. Okay.
Just doing the math in my head. And the Jack's making it hard to do it without talking. So
Gotcha. Just had to make sure. I was like, wait a minute. How many fucking dice is this?
5,000.
29 D12s.
I'm like, this motherfucker just took more damage on a half damage than he did on a whole damage.
Well, I cast that at a level 2 spell that time, so that's why.
All right. Anything else you want to do on your turn?
Is there any way that I can tell if Phil used that inspiration? Does he look less inspired now?
Make me a perception check.
At disadvantage.
Yeah, actually, aren't all perception checks made at disadvantage at you?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, so it's at disadvantage too.
Believe me, I'm inspired right now.
6.
Yeah, you don't see shit.
Yeah.
All right.
You see the wall where Phil was at one point, but you don't see anything else.
You see a shadow, a flash shadow burned into the stone.
How many arrows did you shoot last time?
3.
A lot.
And just hit 1?
2.
I'm gonna look towards where Phil was and say, this time, do more. And give him Bardic Inspiration again, just in case he used it before.
Okay.
Good plan. I didn't. I'd more like you to shoot me with you've took a full rest so I can action search again. That'd be great.
That actually brings us to you, Phil. So you see the dragon has started to flex its muscles and flap its wings again, and it's starting to regain its movement as its head snaps around to look over at the bard, and its sound begins to return to the room as normal, and the growl that's emanating from it doesn't appear as distorted as it was. And it's your turn.
Okay. Well, I'm going to use my sharpshooters again,
Okay.
and my bardic inspiration, since he wants me to use it so bad.
Oh, I don't care if you use it or not. I was just giving
I
it to you again in case you used it.
I know.
I don't know if that stacks. I don't think it does, but
What's that?
No, I think it burns if you had it
No,
before.
it would
Burns
have
it,
smoked
replaces
out the
it.
first point, and I would just be left with just the 1 point left. So yeah, so here's my attacky rolls. Okay, for a that's a 16, but then that bardic, or I didn't use that inspiration. I'm rolling that right now. Ooh, that was an 8, so that's going to be 24.
24 hits.
And that's going to be 2 plus 6 is 8 plus 4 is 12 plus 10 is 22 damage.
22.
Yep. And then my second attack roll, sharpshooter again. So this would be 18, 28 minus 5 is still 23. So yeah, I make it.
23 hits.
And then D10 plus 6 is going to be 12. Plus 1d6 radiant is 5. So that's 12, 17. Plus 10 is 27.
27.
And then 22 hide check.
Okay.
And then I'll move another 5 foot down the wall.
And you let shots go. The first one strikes off of one of its plates of scales on its muzzle, and then the second two strike into its face, right around the sides of its jaw, as it turns its head and looks further into the corner, and you see the green of its eyes begin to flash as it draws its head back and then arches out and blows a cloud of poisonous gas in your direction. And I'm going to need Sylvan and Phil, and actually Curzon, because you went over there to touch Sylvan. I need all of you to make Constitution save. Well, I think you get advantage on the save, Sylvan, but the other two you just make straight up Constitution saving throws.
Dirty 20.
That is a 23.
I got a 15.
Okay, so all three of you are going to make it. All three of you are going to take 12. Well, you get resistance to it as well. So I don't, I think it's you resist the first certain amount.
So resistance is half. So I guess that's how you roll. Is it half of half, or so a fourth,
Yeah.
or is it
So
just
you're
negated
gonna
since
take
it's half?
6. You're gonna take 6 points
Gotcha.
of poison damage, and Curzon
That puts me right back to where I was before Curzon healed me.
and Phil, you guys are gonna take 12 points of poison damage, and the dragon is gonna beat its wings and just lift its body off the ground as it flies straight up through the moonlight in through the open hole in the ceiling and roars as it begins banking out of sight. And you're all officially out of combat now.
After it.
Any chance I
Well,
could
that was
strike at it
Everybody
before it runs
run.
120 feet?
Everybody run to the middle of the room and
It
grab
doesn't
the hourglass.
It just leaps straight up in the air because it's in the center of the room, right underneath the hole. And it's got 80 feet of fly speed.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't get to it
So
then.
it can
But did it
definitely
take
make it
additional
outside
damage?
the hole. Huh?
Take additional damage when it started its turn in the moonbeam?
You can roll your additional damage for it. I mean, unless you got
Just in
some
case
pretty
we run
high
into
damage.
it again. You know.
No matter where he goes, he's within range of my weapon. So I get an attack of opportunity?
No, he's not within range of you. He's not 5 feet away from you.
The range of
Running
my
away.
weapon. I have like
27
400
damage.
27.
Radiant damage.
Hey, that's what I do.
I'm just
Okay.
gonna run over to that pile of gold it was sitting on and start shoving shit into my bag of holding.
I'm running for the hourglass where I'm going to tell everybody to grab the hourglass.
Well, the
At the same
hourglass
time?
is sitting in this big pile of golden objects.
Mine.
Can I make a perception check to see if there's anything of note besides gold? Like, you know.
Oh
You
yeah, we
want-
should definitely do a thorough.
I was
check.
going to say, are you guys going over to the pile and investigating this
Yeah.
pile of objects? Are you standing across the room where you are and just looking around? Like,
I'm gonna walk back down the wall.
I'm gonna take a few minutes and heal us up real quick.
For sure.
Phil's
I'm
going to
already
stay
healed
kind
thanks
of
to
hidden
you.
in the corner because he feels like that dragon's about to come down and try to breath weapon the whole cavern.
Okay. So I mean, if that is your fear, we could do something about that.
I don't vocalize this because they give away my position.
Yeah, Sylvan's just gonna hang out where he's at for now and watch the other two get greedy for the treasure, just to make sure nothing crazy's happening.
Well, I'm just walking. I'm not running over to the Trevor and shoving it into my pocket.
Sylvan feels a strong hand from the shadows reach out and hold him still,
It's my strong hand.
helping him fight his urge to go be a greedy bastard.
I'm gonna turn back to the two of you and be like, should we do something about the gaping hole in the ceiling, just in case he comes back?
Yeah, I usually gape holes. I don't ungape them. De-gaped? I don't know how
Fair
to.
enough.
you should be terribly ashamed of yourself, sir.
I am. I'm a miscreant. Don't be
feel
like
like-
me, kids.
I
At
could
least-
cast Cure Light Wounds and it'd be fine.
At least it wasn't the bard that said it this time.
No, I'm just thinking of casting Wall of Stone and filling in that gap. To get
That's what he said.
Wall of bone.
Do it.
That's enough.
Is that
We made it pretty good ways through the session before that came out. So
I'm coming.
I don't know if I'm proud or disappointed.
a little of both. Little of column A, little of column B.
Yeah. Especially with me in here.
Why can't it be all of the above?
So is that what you do?
Yes, I do.
as long as
It's
the
a
party
60 foot
agrees?
diameter.
As long as the party agrees.
You
I'm
say
down with
60-foot diameter?
It says okay.
The hole in the ceiling is a 60-foot hole.
Can you fill that hole with your stone?
I'm trying to
Can you
figure it
fill
out.
that hole with your expletive deletive?
It's all downhill from here.
It just says you can bridge a chasm or a hole. It says if you create a span greater than 20 feet, you must have the size of each panel to create supports. That's about it.
What are you
so
casting?
concentration spell up to 10 minutes. Wall of Stone.
You're just basically filling in that hole.
Yeah, just to buy us some time, just in case the dragon decides to swoop around and come back in.
Right?
So you would actually have to make effectively a 120-foot wall because you have to half the distance more than 20 feet to create supports for it.
Okay.
So no, it'd be 100 foot.
A non-magical wall of stone is springs into existence at a point you choose within range. The wall is 6 inches thick and is composed of 10 10-foot by 10-foot panels. Each panel must be blah 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 with at least one other panel. 10-foot by 20-foot panels are only 3 inches thick.
So you cast
It
multiple
might not be
times.
worth it because it sounds like it loses thickness.
Okay.
The longer you get, the less thick it gets.
That's what she said.
Yeah. The wall
And-
becomes flaccid.
And I mean, you never know what's gonna come pushing its way in.
Wall of flaccidness.
And at that moment, you hear a vocal screech out in the sky somewhere above this opening as the dragon roars.
Sounds pissed.
Can we understand it? Those of
I
us
can.
that speak Draconic.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to say what it was.
One of these people that speak Draconic need to ask what it said.
Yeah.
I rolled
What is
14. I'm knowing what it said.
Okay. Well, I'll make a roll. What is that? An insight?
Yes.
Oh, if it's insight, I rolled a 15.
I got a 22.
Oh, wait, no, an 18. 9 plus 9 is 18.
Okay. So you both insight in Draconic as to what this dragon says as it banks around in the sky above this opening, and it translates to "fuck."
Nice.
And I chuckle.
And the two of you that speak Draconic actually start laughing. You let out a little giggle as it happens, and you hear a slight whistling sound as this thing dive bombs straight back down through the opening into the
Pretty
center
cool.
of the room again and slams down into the ground and spreads out a huge wave of ruptured stone. And I need everybody in the room to make a dexterity save.
I'm glad I healed us. Oh, thank God.
13.
I got a dirty 20.
19.
I rolled a 19, but I was looking to see if I had something I could use to add to it. I think it's only for stealth rolls, though, for my ambush maneuver.
So it lands. Sylvan, you actually don't keep your feet and fall prone as the stone floor ruptures and ripples all the way across the room. And the first thing that it locks eyes on is you, Curzon, because you're standing kind of big target in the room, and it leaps forward across the room. And I need all of you to roll initiative again.
I will roll in 2 seconds. I have to make an emergency potty break.
Okay.
Same.
Okay. Oh, you.
I got a dirty 20 on initiative.
14, and I got a P2.
All right. Go do your thing. 14.
I knew we should have plugged that hole.
soon as you said it, my brain started doing calculations like, all right, fuck, how fast is this dragon going to be traveling? How thick is this stone? How much
I
damage
knew
is
as
it
soon
gonna
as he
take?
flew away that he was going to circle back. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he's going to take us out of initiative and bring it right back. So I'm
You-
like, I
you
wanted
guys
to
are-
close it, but hold up.
You guys are in his treasure hoard. Like,
Right.
Are we taking like a 5-minute break or something?
no, we were waiting for you guys to finish peeing. I got 2 initiatives already.
Okay.
Mikey gave me his. I'm waiting for yours and Nathan's.
I'm rolling mine right now. I'm also going to use a superiority die for ambush that I can use to add to my initiative.
Okay.
It's a good fucking thing I did.
I got a 22.
17.
Everybody fucking killed it this time. So it's going to go Sylvan, Keelgaunt, Curzon, Phil, the dragon.
Ouch,
Should have just
Phils,
ran
bro.
away.
Ouch, Phils. Yeah. So, did we get a long rest for that intermission? Damn it. Can I get some a bardic action surge?
Oh, bardic action. You never heard of one of those? What
You
do
ain't never heard of that before?
what do you
Tell
been
'em
playing
about it, Sid.
PvP under a rock?
Yo,
I'll give you
Sid,
some.
tell them about it.
I mean, I could cast Liamon's tiny hut, and you could sleep in it for 8 hours while we fight this dragon.
Can you hold out that long?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing 8d6 of damage to it
Yeah, once.
twice. It was just cut in half
3
the second
times
time.
elated.
We'll do it again, and I'll
Yep.
keep trying too. So,
That brings us to you, Sylvan. You're effectively prone on the floor because you didn't make your save, but it is your turn.
Well, guess what? Fuck this dragon. I don't have to be standing to make it make an intelligence saving throw. As I say, you should have just ran.
All right. What's the DC?
15.
It makes it.
Fuck this dragon, man.
can I use Mikey's inspiration to give it disadvantage?
No.
Damn it.
And I rolled a freaking shit ton of damage too. 12, 18, 22, 26. So 31. So if you round down, it's 15. If you round up, it's 16 damage.
Okay.
12 it is.
And then I'll look back over to where Phil is and say, kill it this time. And give him my last bardic inspiration.
All right.
Then I
brings
will
us
use
to
half
you.
my movement to stand up.
Okay. And that brings us to you, Keelgaunt. The
Okay.
dragon lands, it ruptures the ground around in a circle, and then it charges forward towards Curzon and Sylvan, who is standing up off of the ground.
Okay. I'm going to run back up the wall and I'm going to cast Moonbeam again.
Okay. It needs to make a save.
Constitution's, Constitution, right? Let me just double check. Yep, Constitution save. DC of 18.
18. He makes it.
Okay, so that's half damage. There's my D10. Uh, 11 radiant damage.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna stand there holding the spell for right now.
All right. And Phil, you had 17 for your initiative,
Yes, sir.
and Curzon, you had a 14, right?
Correct, sir.
All right, so we're Phil, then Curzon.
Okay. Um, Phil's gonna Phil's gonna attack him, of course.
Okay.
Using the sharpshooter and also using that bardic inspiration as
Okay.
well. And I forgot. I'm still hidden, so I have a little advantages.
Actually, you haven't made a stealth check since it landed in here again.
Oh no, you are correct. Um, I'll do it after this turn. It's fine. So then it's gonna be 21 minus 5 is gonna be 16 plus the D10 Bard Inspiration, which is gonna be a 2. It's gonna be an 18.
18 hits.
Outstanding. So then we're gonna go 10 plus 6, 16. Plus 3 radiant is 19. Plus 10 sharpshooter is 29.
29.
Next attack 13 plus precision attack maneuvering die. Ooh, that's an 8. That's going to be a 21.
21 to hit.
21 to hit.
21 hits.
And that's going to be 5, 11, 12 damage. Because I didn't use my sharpshooter.
Okay.
And now my hide check for an 18. Oh, it's low light. I get advantage, right?
No, it's still well lit in here because he's
Okay.
getting hit by a moonbeam, and he actually spots you for the first time.
That's not good. And yeah, I'll just kind of give him a sly wink, and I'll end my turn.
All right. That brings us to you, Curzon.
Okay, I'm going to cast Protection from Poison on myself,
Okay.
since I have yet to do that. Then I am also going to as a bonus action, I'm going to cast Spirit Weapon.
Okay.
And then I would need another bonus action, which I don't have to make an attack. So I will just hold for now.
You don't want to move or anything?
Nope, I'm going to stay right where I'm at.
All right. And that brings us to the dragon. So do your moonbeam damage. You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry.
You
My bad. My bad. It was a successful save, right? So half damage.
Yeah.
Okay. So 15 damage.
All right. So you see Curzon and Sylvan, you're standing up from prone, and you see Curzon wash this glow over himself, and then you both see the dragon lunge forward, and as it lunges forward, a bright flash of moonlight ripples up the side of the dragon's scales and flashes off its face, and it slams into the ground as it's coming towards you two, and I need both of you to make dexterity saving throws to get out of the way.
$19.
Eight.
Ooh.
So you actually get hit by the dragon's body as it slams into the ground, and it actually sends you flying backwards, and you slam up against the side of the tunnel wall, taking 11 points of damage and breaking 2 of your ribs.
Ow.
And I'd like to take this moment for everybody to go ahead and congratulate Keelgaunt for the killing blow on the dragon.
Oh yeah. Good job.
Nice.
If it wasn't for his
Damage
moonbeam,
over time.
if it wasn't for his moonbeam, you two were about to get wrecked with that dragon's multi attack. That was your guys' saving grace through that whole encounter. Was nobody got within range of it. Every time it started to leap across the room, somebody was like, "No, we're going to incapacitate you, or we're going to make you stay here and take another 30 damage."
I wanted it to come
Well, the nice
try to
thing about
attack me because it has
The
disadvantage.
nice thing about the moonbeam is that every time, even if it moved out, I could use my action to move the moonbeam 60 feet.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, even
Not
that,
to mention,
it was
I
just
did-
what really fucked it was when Sylvan incapacitated it for the turn, because then everybody
yeah.
just got to dump on it. Like, boom, here you go.
between the moonbeams and the arrows.
Yeah, dude, I did like 200 damage to that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Phil was plinking away on that motherfucker.
Bring, bring, bring.
I did like almost 30 damage every time. So if those wouldn't have been halved,
Right.
Even with them halved, they were still breaking it down one after another and shit, which is why it tried to fucking get out of there and then come back in for a surprise attack on you guys, but that didn't work too well.
No.
So laying in the midst of this room now is the punctured, shining, reflective body of a large adult green dragon. And off to the other side of the room, there's probably a good, I'd say 3.5 feet tall by 2.5 foot wide by probably 12 foot or so long pile of gold and silver objects, coins, and other various things like candelabra and just, jewelry and a bunch of other stuff. Then you can actually see a few small pieces of armor and weapons as well, along with this golden hourglass that's shining from the middle of the pile.
Sylvan wants to pull out his dagger and approach the dragon body and attempt to cut a tooth and an eye out of the dragon.
Okay. Go ahead and we'll say, what do you want? Nature or sleight of hand? How are you trying to do this? What
Can I
skill do you
cast Flash
possess?
of Genius on him?
Sure. I mean, unless he objects to
I
it.
don't think it's a spell. No, Flash of Genius is a feat. +3 to all allies checks and rolls. There's doesn't list the duration, which is weird. I think it's just a one-time
It's an
thing.
aura effect, it sounds like. If
I
it's
cast
feet,
Raise
right?
Dead on the dragon. Not kidding, guys.
Dude, what are you, the Night King?
Day,
could be.
man.
Fighter of the night, man.
Oh.
It just says when you're another creature you can see within 30 feet makes an ability check or saving throw. You can use a reaction to add your intelligence modifier.
So it's like a paladin's aura, so it's just all the time.
Well, yeah, out of
Okay.
combat it's technically like all the time. In combat,
You're-
it's anytime you have a reaction, so.
Okay, so yeah, that's +3.
All right, I would like to
all
use
checks
sleight
and
of
rolls.
hand if I can.
Okay.
Did you say there's like a statue thing?
That's a 15.
that's enough for you to carve out this eye without doing too much damage to it.
Since I use Flash Adidas, do you want to cut me some scales for magical components?
There are some small little statuary things and like candelabras and stuff in this pile.
I thought you said there was like a large green human form statue of the dragon.
No.
I was gonna stick the whole damn thing in my bag of
The
holding.
Jade Dragon?
I'm gonna grab figurines and gold and shit, and I'm just gonna put a whole bunch into my bag of holding.
I'm also gonna loot JC's stuff, or what's left of it.
Okay.
You can't have what I got.
Nope, I
Which
sure
I
can't.
still don't know what I got yet.
I'm trying to figure out what type of animal I can wild shape into so I can shovel all the gold into the bag of holding.
It's my bag of holding.
Yeah, I
think-
know. You can
I think
hold
we
on. You
should
can
all
hold
just
on to it all you want.
I'll
try to
hold on
split
to
it
all
as
of
even
it.
as possible.
I ain't trying to split nothing. This is my
I know
cake.
you ain't trying to split
You're
nothing.
damn right, and I'll kill all of you.
No, you won't.
All right, Mr.
I'll-
Broken Rib
I'll
Man.
raise you from the dead and turn you into my meat puppet.
Ha ha ha!
And roll initiative.
17.
18.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right. Dexterity check.
Curzon, what do? I cast sleep.
Oh, Phil's got magical, resistance to sleep. He says he'll sleep when he's dead.
The bard
So-
starts humming that Star Trek song from Cable
Oh,
Guy.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, like I said, I don't know how many of you have bags of holding, but this pile is about 3.5 feet tall by about 2.5 feet wide by about 12 foot long.
We could easily split that into 4 and shove a fourth of that into each of our bags.
I don't think all of us have.
I don't have
bags.
a bag of holding.
I'll take his half, don't worry.
Oh, I'll take it.
Now, if you guys want to do any investigation of the items or anything before you start randomly shoving stuff into your bags, that's fine. If not, if you're just going to randomly start shoving stuff into your bags, that's fine too.
I kind of want to know what I'm putting into my bag.
I wanna
Same.
look around the horde to see if there's anything particular that catches my eye.
All right, everybody give me investigations or perceptions.
My perception is higher. Ooh, hell
At
yeah.
20.
24.
At
15.
20 for a total of 28.
Plus,
Chivas.
23.
28 for Keelgaunt, 24 for Phil, 23 for Sylvan, and 15 for Curzon.
Yes, sir.
All right, so you're the first one to notice like individual items. Everybody's kind of struck for the first few minutes by the amount of gold and silver and shine and shit that you see in this pile. But you're the first one to start picking out like specific things. You see a few different items that immediately jump out to you, like the hourglass that signals the end of the level. You also see what appears to be a small, sized for a small person, a pair of full set of half plate armor of some silvery metallic metal. That's the components are mixed all in. Like you can pick out a helm here and a band brace there and a gauntlet there. You also pick out a bunch of different little random items that are sticking out, like the halves of a few different weapons and a few what look like either rods or wands sticking out of it. But the first thing that you see that you're immediately drawn to is this small bronze banded ring that's got all these carvings of leaves and animals on it, and it's like sitting on top of this silver coin, so it just contrasts and catch your eye right away. And in the band, you can see moving around in the band are what appears to be a wolf chasing a deer around the band of the ring itself through different various landscapes.
Do I know what this is?
You can, I don't know if what means you have of like identifying or detecting or anything, but
I mean, detect magic, but that doesn't tell me exactly what it is, right?
no,
I'm wondering if, as a druid, I'm familiar with this item.
then make me a knowledge, history or nature or druid check or a base intelligence check.
For sure. I am going to do. Yeah, I'll do a history check. 22.
So you think from looking at the band and the scenes unfolding on it, from your knowledge of history, this does appear to be a druid craft item, and you think of it and immediately come to mind with a ring of animal influence or rings of animal friendship. You knew of these things that druids had created before that aided them in their bonding with nature and with the animals and the environment.
So I'm gonna pick that up, but I'm gonna slip it on, and I'm gonna yell out, "Somebody grab this hourglass!" But I
Not
think we
till
should
we're
finish looking
done.
around first. Yeah, I think we should finish looking around first.
Okay.
But
And that brings us to you, Phil. You're the next one in perception order. So you're struck right away at first by the amount of gold and just gems and random things, but then you begin to pick out individual things as well. And you see that plate, that half plate armor that's sized for a small creature, and immediately, like, you're like, holy shit, that's made out of some nice, metal or some type of metal, and then you start picking out all these individual items. And the first thing that actually catches your eye is this gold brooch or cloak pin, that's shaped like a large triangular cut shield, almost like a triangular cut in Finman's shield.
Nice. I assume that this could be really super cool.
really super cool.
So I grabbed that and I would probably start throwing a couple of handfuls of gold and shit into my bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would grab the half plate armor and throw it in my bag. And as I was grabbing that, I would say that everyone's gonna get a fair share of this armor. Since I don't want to wear it, the
I don't need
druid's
it.
the only one that probably could, and he don't want to wear it. The dragon definitely ain't gonna wear it. And
I'll put my toes in it.
but then I just grab a couple little bits for me um to help pay for my repair bills and shit. Nothing too greedy.
Okay.
Uh,
That brings us to Silbin. You're the next one to overcome the influence of the mound and actually start picking out items individually. And you see this small set of half plate as Phil's like, hey, there's a set of plate armor here. We're going to split up that nobody can wear, and you start picking out little individual items and you see the halves of a couple of weapons, and then your eye is drawn down to this little silver figurine that sits on top of a gold pitcher and plate combo, like for a ewer of wine. And this silver contrast like so markedly with it because it's made in such fine detail, and it's about a 3-inch tall figurine of a silver raven.
Man, that sucks. I asked about figurines first. This is bullshit.
You asked about statues.
Whatever, nigga. It's the same thing.
I'm gonna
sorry.
go pick it up.
Okay. And you pick it up and you immediately feel that tingle in your fingers when you pick up something that's charged with the arcane.
Can I see if I can tell what it does, or something I have to attune to, or?
If you want to try to detect magic or identify it, or maybe like Keelgaunt did and roll a knowledge check on it to see if you know anything about it.
Sucks I won't know nothing about my brooch till we get back to the Overlook, and God knows when that's gonna be.
I'm guessing I'll probably just end up pocketing it because that was a 7 on an Arcana check.
And you're like,
I,
it's magical.
yeah,
And you go to stick it in your belt pouch, and as you stick it in your belt pouch, it actually lets out a squawk.
I'm gonna have to get this checked. And then Sylvan will start stepping towards the hourglass, not picking it up till everyone's done, but just kind of making sure that we're ready to pick it up in case something else happens.
Okay. And that brings us to you, Curzon. You're the one who's overwhelmed by the amount of gold and silver that's laying here in this pile. Like you're awash in the luster of it longer than anyone else. But you eventually, your eyes start to focus past all the gold shine, and you start to pick out individual things too as you're trying to load all these gold and silver coins into your bag without causing an avalanche or anything else. And the first thing that catches your eye is this shield that was buried down inside of the mountain of coins. As you're scooping the coins into your bag, you actually reveal the bottom edge of this large steel banded wood shield that, as you sweep the coins and the pitchers and everything else off the top of it, you see emblazoned across the front of it is a large face that's like a weathered old, like grizzled veteran combat face. Like it's like when you see the shadow cutout of the cowboy leaning up against the fence. You know what I'm saying? It's a recognizable symbol of a warrior's shield. Like this has been through combat, for years. So it's not directly focused on any deity specifically, but it's a grizzled combat shield. It's a large shield.
Praise Tempest.
I'm gonna pick it up and check it out, and I'm gonna use detect magic on it.
And it, along with a bunch of other items all throughout the chamber, radiate magic. This radiates a blue protective enchantment. I don't know how much information detect magic gives you. I think it just tells you if it is magic and what type of magic it is.
I think that is correct, sir.
Yeah, with
But another thing that pops out while you're looking around the room, because it is a specific type of magic, which is, I believe, divination magic. You see an item sticking out of Phil's belt, wrapped in a black gossamer cloth that's bloodstained that resonates and reveals a highly like a strong aura of divination magic.
I'm gonna motion or like get Phil's attention and be like, "Hey, the thing you got in your belt there seems to be pretty powerful. Do you know what that is?"
Why are you looking at his belt?
It's giving off a strong aura of divination magic.
My eyes are up here, and I rolled a 21 stealth. No, I'd be like, oh, this came off of JC's cloak when he disappeared into the wall. I kind of forgot about it, and I'm gonna kind of hold it out to you. Like, do you know how? You know how to use it? You know what this is? Like, I don't know what it is. It looks like a broke stick to me.
And he holds it out. And as he holds it out, the rich piece of black fabric actually rolls down off of one end. And you can see the end of a wand that has a small diamond at the tip. And if anybody wants to, they can make a knowledge arcana check. Or you actually don't need to Curzon because you recognize it through your detect magic, but anybody else that wants to can make a knowledge arcana check. You immediately register it as a wand of identification.
Oh, I think we can use this to identify what we have here.
And I'm gonna say, prove it, and I'm gonna pull out that brooch and say, what is this then?
And I will take your wand of identify and say, identify. I don't know. I will attempt to use it in any at any rate. In the name of Steve,
Do you know how to
identify
use
this.
devices?
I do not.
And you're like, identify this, and nothing happens.
Yeah. Does anyone here know how to use arcane devices?
Well, I sure do not.
I mean, I can make a Arcana check.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I'm messing with this ring.
Dude, pick the fucking dice up and roll it.
Calm your tits.
17 Arcana.
A 17 arcana, you'd know how to activate the wand. The trigger word is actually inscribed in the end of the handle.
Does
Give it
he
here.
know that?
Let me see.
Are you still adding a +3?
Oh, it'd be a 20 then.
Okay, so
Flash of genius. Everybody should be adding +3 to all your rolls.
okay, so then I grab the wand back from Mikey, and I hand it over to Silbin. And
Silbin is going to look over the wand, find whatever word is on it. Enoth. And he's going to. Is Phil still holding the brooch out, like towards Silbin?
Yes.
Silbin is going to make a big motion of like waving the wand around and kind of with his other, like, kind of distracting with one hand, and then his other hand pull out this raven figurine and say Enoth real fast and tap the raven figurine.
All right. First of all, give me a sleight of hand. And
second of all, get ready for this boot to the chest, bro, because that's not cool.
Phil, give me perception.
That's only a 10.
What do you want from me?
Perception.
Oh, wait, it's a 13 if I add my +3.
At disadvantage.
Do I get advantage?
You get disadvantage.
Okay, let me roll another one. Okay, so either a nat 20 or a 17. plus 6 is 23. Plus 3 from Rob is 26.
So you see him waving this wand around, and then his hand comes out from his pouch with the raven in it, and he goes, Enoth. And right as he says Enoth, you stick your hand over top of his hand with the brooch in it, and a flash comes out of the diamond and reflects off of the brooch and bounces back up into the diamond and up through the wand and into your arm. You feel a charge of arcane energy, and immediately in your mind is pictured a brooch of shielding. And you know that this amulet or brooch that he's holding will absorb up to 50 points of ranged damage that's casted or thrown at him.
I hate to tell you this, but the brooch is worthless.
Persuasion.
Okay.
Deception.
I was thinking
Okay.
I rolled deception.
Deception, for sure. Versus your perception.
You're both getting +3 though.
We're in low light. You can't use a perception check on me without disadvantage, son. So
He's not perceiving. he's
Deception.
perceiving. You're
Oh, you're
perceiving.
Deceiving.
okay, so
That's,
you get double disadvantage
12 plus 11 is 26 total.
for a what? What do
For
I got?
deception, you need to make a perception.
Perception roll. Okay, let's see. 19, 25, 28.
I
Oh,
think
and
he's
you
using
know
the
what?
wrong character sheet. He's adding like 17 different things to it.
No, I added my dice roll. I added my perception score. I added my +3 from Rob. Now I'm going to use a superiority die to use tactical assessment and gain even more to my perception check. So you can
So-
suck it.
You
So he
see,
sneak
Hold
attacks
on, hold on.
no. You see that he's feeding you a line of horse shit, but you have no idea what he actually knows about this brooch right now. But you know it's something, and it's not what he's telling you.
That's okay. Can I use a sleight of hand to steal the wand back from him?
I think that would be opposed dexterity checks.
Okay, let's do that too then.
I rolled a nat 20, so 23, because +3 is 23, plus 11 is 34, plus 47 is 91.
Damn, I rolled a 92. Holy
Nice.
shit.
All right, you both
It's
fail.
a 26 total,
Yeah, mine would also be a 26.
because I did roll a nat 20.
All
I
right,
rolled.
you both reach out. You go to pull your arm back. He goes to grab the wand. You're both holding on to the end of the wand, looking at each other like you're standing there getting ready to circle jerk somebody off.
That's funny.
Meanwhile,
If
your
you-
No, reality.
is still radiating everything in the room with the most powerful aura being coming from the hourglass, which has now slid down the pile towards these two and flips up against Sill's boot as they're standing there arguing, and the gold energy begins to wash over the room and take over everybody's visual
Damn
experience.
port keys.
And the gold light flashes out bright, comes back in real dark, and disappears, and you all find yourself in a familiar 20-foot by 20-foot tunnel that the walls are carved of blue glowing stone. And that's where we're going to end today's session.
Are we in the Overlook now?
No,
No.
we're just in another
No.
tunnel.
Damn.
I
I
know.
had the
Tunnels
perfect
on
I had the
tunnels on
perfect
tunnels.
one-liner for being in the Overlook. I was gonna smile right before the flash happened, like as it's building, and the last thing that Phil sees is Sylvan smile, and then when we're in the Overlook, Sylvan lets go of the wand and just looks at Phil and loudly says, "If you want to touch my wand, you can just ask."
Save it for the next time, bud.
All right. So that's where we end today's session. I can in the group chat send you guys the actual list of what loot you got before you were violently pulled from the level,
Thanks,
and
Sil.
we can get planning for the next session.
Oh yeah.
Sounds good. Good game, guys.
Steve was like, I'm tired of listening to y'all's bullshit arguing.
He is. He
You're
is.
you're both making the same roll back and forth against each other at the same scores. I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous.
It's never ending. But the thing is, he needed to roll a nat 20 to catch a 26. I rolled a 13 and caught a 26.
You're only supposed to use one character sheet. You know that, right?
I am. Stop giving me all kinds of pluses. You know,
He
my
used your own
dexterity
bardic
check is a
inspiration
9.
against you.
Shouldn't have that anymore. He used it like 17 times in order to be able to do all that extra damage. He needed me to do that extra 10 damage each round.
I still got 3 D10 superiority die and a D6 superiority die. So I'm superior, clearly.
And a superiority complex.
Something's
Yeah.
broken there. That sounds like a broken class. I need to call wizards, right? Yeah, hey.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
they're gonna
All right.
fix it in
Well,
one.
All
thank
right,
you,
guys.
gentlemen, for joining us again for the session, and we'll let Nathan do the closing ceremonies, and then we'll get ready to cut out of here.
Yep. Thanks everybody for watching. If you've hung out in the chat or if you're watching on Steve's channel later, I'm posting the link in the chat right now if you want to check out the VODs on Steve's channel. That's where all the other Orlunds episodes are, and you can watch season 1 where we got our asses kicked and catch up on season 2 up to current date. If you want to hang out in the chat for a couple minutes after we throw the end screen up, I don't know why I always say break screen. We're gonna raid Jarl of Goats. He's playing Space Engineers, which is once we're done and take care of all of our stuff, which is where I'm going and jump on his server and play some Space Engineers with him. So if you want to hang out in the chat for a couple minutes and participate in that raid, you get extra channel points for that, and you can use those for chat versus streamer Pokemon nights when we have those. I appreciate you hanging out, and we'll see you in another dimension.